Hello students, let's continue our chapter 7. We are studying the chapter Preservation of our Cultural Heritage. Yes students, yesterday also I told you why we need to preserve our heritage. It is just not only it brings the name and praises for our country, but also we need to preserve the rich heritage for the next generation. And then today we are going to study about tourism industry and our heritage. How does this tourism helps when we talk about the cultural heritage? So let's begin. Various sites of natural and cultural heritage of India have been accommodated in the list of the World Heritage by UNESCO. Many people come to visit, to explore and to do research on our heritage from India and other countries. This boosts our tourism and transportation industry along with the economic benefits to the concerned states. Tourism industry provides appropriate opportunity and proper platform to showcase our multifarious cultural arts and traditions in front of the world. So students, as we said, that various sites of natural and cultural heritage of India have been accommodated in the list of the World Heritage by UNESCO. Up to chapter 6 when we studied, we saw, like for example, Ajanta Ellora caves. UNESCO has marked this site, okay, and so that also has become the one of the tourist center, which brings a lot of foreign currency as the people go to visit Taj Mahal, another heritage monument or the cultural heritage. So students, what happens is that it is in the list of heritage, it is listed by the UNESCO. Many people come to visit, to explore and to do research on our heritage from India and other countries. Now for example, Taj Mahal, many people do come to study about it. May it be the people from India or out of our country. Then what happens when the people from out of our country, they come? This boosts our tourism and transportation industry. It helps our tourism as well as the transportation industry. People come, people go, and many other things happen. You know that when we go somewhere out, all the things that we require for the stay as well as transportation and many other ways, okay? Along with the economic benefits to the concerned states, tourism industry provides appropriate opportunity and proper platform to showcase our multifarious cultural arts and traditions in front of the world. So students, what along with this, not only we are talking about this financially or economically, but also along with these economic benefits to the concerned states. For example, when we talk about Taj Mahal or when we talk about Ajanta Ellora caves, when we say that it is for the states of Maharashtra, that is the Ajanta Ellora caves, bringing economy, but along with that, also tourism industry provides the appropriate opportunity and proper platform to showcase our multifarious cultural arts and traditions in front of the world. Of course, when the people from the different countries, when they come to our country, we do showcase our culture. We do show them our talents in many ways. May it be traditionally, may it be in the form of art, and they do appreciate, the foreigners do appreciate our Indian culture, Indian art, all that we the right from the beginning what we have studied in this 10th standards history. This is what our rich heritage is. Apart from this, tourism also provides employment to the local people, and this keeps the vanishing art and tradition alive. What happens because of this tourism and all, when these particular places like Lothal and all, when they have been mentioned, when the people come to see those places, you know, there have been so many places which we have studied, and so when they come to see all these, obviously out of the gate where the particular monuments are, people are selling the things. It also gives the employment, as well as many people, as they have to travel, they hire the vehicles, and so therefore they also different types of drivers also, and in that way they are getting the jobs, as well as it keeps the vanishing art and tradition alive, because the people come and all, so traditional things have been sold. People from the foreign, they appreciate our traditional work, like the purses, zari work, and then inlay work, and many things which we have seen earlier about the art and architecture and all. And so they carry with it. That brings job for the unemployed people. For many women, they have been involved in this. Nowadays, tourism as a subject has been added in the field of education, which is eventually promoting tourism guide as an independent business. So nowadays, tourism as a subject has been added in the field of education, travels and tourism. There are many people, many students who choose this subject, travels and tourism. Okay, and then it has been added in the education, which is eventually promoting tourism guide as an independent business. It has become as a business. Sometimes, for example, now we are from Gujarat, and you have done this course. You do not want to go out, but you want to remain in your state itself. So you become a guide. People, those who come to Ahmedabad and all, you take them to the different sites. We are rich, you know that. We have studied about Lothal, we have studied about these other places like Rani Ki Vav and Tran Darwaja and all in Ahmedabad. And so students, what happens when we talk about this all, it becomes a business. You just guide one group, you take money from them. People are happy because they get the information. You are happy that you are sharing your knowledge with them, plus you are getting a job, you are getting money, and so on. India earns foreign currency from the foreigners. When the foreigners visit, of course, we do get the foreign currency. With foreign currency from foreigners, visitors. Introducing a heterogeneous culture, it enlightens the talent of our country at the international level. It also enlightens our talents on the international level. Just before I said, many of the things which are made in India, created in India, have been appreciated abroad. May it be, just I gave you the example of the zari work, of the purses, the embroidery, and so on. Okay, then facilities like metal road, railways, water, communication, etc. are developed around the sites of heritage. Of course, wherever the sites are, just take the example in Bhavnagar, now that we have started Ro-Ro ferry service as well as Alang and all. So when you go there, our roads are very nice. Why? Because people come to see, and that has become now just here in Bhavnagar. But these two places, when people come, they do like to see, they do like to visit what it is exactly. And so therefore, they are also drawn over there. Now, tourism encourages activities like photography, horse riding, boating, etc. simultaneously provided employment to street hawkers. Just as photography, when you go, suppose when you go to see Taj Mahal, to visit Taj Mahal or Qutub Minar and all, people will be standing outside. They will tell you, stand here, we'll click a photo, in 10 minutes time we'll give you, in 2 minutes we will give you the photo with Taj Mahal. And so those who are doing the photography, they get money. Those who are doing the portrait of yourself and all, those who are good in drawing and all, they tell you, you sit here and we'll give you. Just now there are the hawkers, there are the horse ridings. You know, some people near the lake and all, if suppose you have gone, there is the boating and all, horse riding. So you just go there, maybe you have to pay 100 rupees, 50 rupees ticket, you enjoy the riding, and the people also get money, and they are able to sustain themselves. And so that is how many street hawkers and all are able to manage, they get employment. Varied culture, indigenous art, and their features have got a proper platform for the development. Varied culture, when we talk about varied culture, different culture, and the indigenous art. That is, when we talk about the people who are of that particular place, or in short, the Adivasis and all, their art. Nowadays, we get to see that many of the prints come with this art, and so these have got the proper platform for the development. They are able to get the work done, or they are happy because they are getting employment and so on. And then preservation of heritage and measure to conserve it. Now, students, this about tourism industry and a heritage can be asked for 2 marks, but preservation of heritage and measures to conserve it can be asked for the 3 marks, and so if both are asked, they could be of 4 marks. So pay attention now. What are the measures to take or efforts made for the preservation and conservation of heritage are given below. Indian government has constituted the Indian Board of Wildlife in 1952 to protect our wildlife. It facilitates with material for the conservation of wildlife. It suggests government for the development of national park, bird sanctuary, the zoological gardens, along with the task of creating awareness for protection of wildlife. So students, what the efforts have been made to preserve, and when we talk about the wildlife and all, in 1952 to protect, the government has constituted the Indian Board of Wildlife to protect our wildlife, to take care of our wildlife. And what it suggests the government for what? For the development of the national park. We just studied in our geography about this, how many national parks are there, bird sanctuaries, bioreserves and all. We need to preserve this one. So development of national park, bird sanctuary, zoological gardens, along with the task of creating awareness for protection of wildlife. For protection of wildlife, this law have been, or this have been constituted. The second thing, Wildlife Protection Act enacted in 1972 gave a firm status to the national parks, sanctuaries and bioreserves. So this act, which was already enacted in 1972, it has given the firm status to national parks, sanctuaries and bioreserves. They have been developed, they have been taken care, and somewhere we are trying to take care of the wild animals. New national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and bioreserves have been established. Because of this act, new parks, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and bioreserves have been established, which we have already studied in, I think, chapter 9 of our geography. The laws of our country for the preservation of our heritage have a wide perspective. Strict laws have been framed to stop the destruction of vanishing vegetation and wildlife. You know that before cutting the trees and all, we need to take permission, as well as the hunting is not allowed. Strict measures have been taken, and so somehow we are able to control this wildlife as well as the vegetation. We are able to maintain it. Apart from government, there are several societies and organizations which have been actively taking up the task of protection of wildlife and environment. Not only government, but there have been different organizations and the societies who also have been taking care of the wildlife as well as the environment. Just as yesterday we studied that it is not only the duty of the government, but it also becomes the duty of each and every citizen of the country. The Bombay Natural History Society is the oldest one of its kind and was established in 1883. Presently, Gir Foundation, Natural Club, etc. institutions are doing noble work of environmental preservation. Realizing the importance of the preservation of our heritage, Constitution framers made it mandatory that it should be included in our Constitution. Realizing the importance of the preservation, once we got to know how important it is to preserve the heritage, the wildlife, vegetation, and so on, the preservation of our heritage, the Constitution framers, those who are framing the laws and all, realize that it is mandatory, should be made compulsory to include it in our Constitution. Okay, so students, this is about the laws and all, how it has been measured, what measures or the steps have to be taken to conserve or to preserve these heritages. Okay. Now, Ancient Memorials and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act. The more dangerous and harmful factors arose in the way of heritage, the more strict actions and efforts were made time to time for preservation. Hence, various protective measures have been taken for the safeguard of heritage. Or students, the more dangerous and harmful factors arose in the way of heritage. Dangerous, for example, if you are talking about hunting wildlife, obviously there were many animals were being killed, and so therefore some strict actions needed to be taken, and so the more strict actions and efforts were made time to time for preservation. In order to preserve wildlife, we had to take those measures. Hence, various protective measures have been taken for the safeguard of heritage. Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act was enacted in 1958. This act suggests for the preservation of antique artistic work, religious places, historical memorials, and archaeological sites. Now, Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites Remains Act was enacted in 1958. Underline that. So, students, when we talk about the ancient monuments and the archaeological sites, which we have already studied, like Lothal and all, okay. So, students, what happened? Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, these places, archaeological sites, plus ancient monuments, which we have been seeing so many, like for example, the tombs or the temples or the churches and so on. So, this act to preserve them was taken in 1958, and this act suggests what? For the preservation of the antique artistic work. The antique, the old ancient artistic work, as well as the religious places, just as I told you about the tomb or the mosque or the temples and so on, historical monuments like Taj Mahal, Qutub Minar and so on, and archaeological sites, Mohenjo-daro, then Lothal, Dholavira, so on, archaeological sites. And so students, we need to preserve them. Why? This Archaeological Act ensures that no person or agency can conduct archaeological excavation without the prior permission of government. This action consequently stopped clandestine excavation. Hence, many of our heritage sites are still preserved and kept intact. Now, students, what is it? This Archaeological Act ensures, what does it ensure? That no person or any agency can conduct archaeological excavation without the prior permission. Without taking the permission from the government, they cannot conduct any archaeological excavation. Why? Because, and why did it stop? Because this action consequently stopped clandestine excavation. People have been doing hiding, they have been excavating without taking the permission, and so therefore many of the sites were not known to the government. And so once they have taken the permission from the government is aware of what or which site has been excavated. So this action consequently stopped that this clandestine excavation, that is clandestine, that is about the hiding without taking the permission and all people have been doing, that has been stopped, and hence many of our heritage sites are still preserved and kept intact. That helped this, when it was stopped, clandestine excavation, it helped government to preserve and keep natural heritage sites intact. The Government of India declared some historical places as national monuments. Department of Archaeology is responsible to look after the preservation of these monuments. The Government of India declared some historical places as national monument. Okay, Government of India declares some historical places as national monuments, and Department of Archaeology, Department of Archaeology is responsible to look after the preservation of these monuments. Why, students? Why this Department of Archaeology? Because it comes under the government, and so therefore they have to take care of it time to time. Whatever things have been needed to preserve its walls or whatever it is, they have to take care of. However, these heritage sites will not be preserved just by framing laws, but it becomes moral responsibility of every citizen. What happens? However, these heritage sites will not be preserved just by framing the laws. The laws have been framed, but if they have not been implemented, will we be able to take care of it? So it becomes a moral responsibility of every citizen. Each and every one of us are responsible to preserve our cultural heritage. Department of Archaeology maintains sites of heritage which are either destroyed or on the verge of destruction. So Department of Archaeology takes care of the heritage which is either completely destroyed, how to bring it back, or on the verge of the destruction. While taking up the work of maintenance of monuments, one should keep in mind that they should be preserved in such a manner so that it retains its original shape, size, and condition intact. Sorry, students. While taking up the work of maintenance, when we are taking up the work of maintenance of the monuments, one should keep in mind what has to be kept in mind while preserving. When you are preserving that particular monument, you do not have to change the shape or size or the of it. You need to make sure the size and the shape remains intact. That is the condition. Otherwise, if you change the size and the shape, it will become another new monument only, and the people will not be able to make out which monument it is. Department of Archaeological Survey of India, that is the full form ASI, that is the Archaeological Survey of India, has more than 5,000 monuments and sites under its protection. So Department of Archaeological Survey, how many monuments they have under their protection? Sites. How many sites they have? Sites and monuments, 5,000, underline that. Sangameshwar Temple and Papanasham temples in Andhra Pradesh were going to be submerged into the sea due to the construction of Nagarjun Sagar multipurpose project. Underline that. So students, these two temples, Sangameshwar and Papanasham temple in Andhra Pradesh, they were going to be submerged into the sea. They were going under the sea. Why? Due to the construction of Nagarjun Sagar multipurpose project. Therefore, these temples have been successfully shifted to Alampur at Mehbubnagar district of Andhra Pradesh. So therefore, they did not allow these temples, that is the Papanasham and Sangameshwar temple, to go under the sea by the construction of the project, that multipurpose project, that is an Nagarjun Sagar project, but they shifted it to Alampur at Mehbubnagar district, Andhra Pradesh. Make bracket, students, you will have to remember this. Taj Mahal of Agra is one of the 7 wonders of the world. I just gave the example when we were talking about the tourism. Okay, it is also one of the archaeological site. And so students, what happens? Taj Mahal of Agra, it's also a monument. Okay, is one of the 7 wonders of the world, which helps to get the foreign currency and so on. Tourism has improved there, developed. Hawkers have got job. Air pollution caused by Mathura oil refinery and fast growing nearby industries turn the white marble pale and dull. So students, what happened? Air pollution caused by Mathura oil refinery and fast growing nearby industries. The industries and industries, factories and so on, they cause the pollution, and that air pollution has the effect on the marble or on the monuments, and so turn the white marble pale and dull. Due to that, marble is become, so it becomes now the duty of whom? So the Department of Archaeology took suitable steps to close the industries spreading air pollution in its neighborhood. Regular cleaning of the structure has brought back the brightness of the Taj Mahal. So students, what happened? Because of the factories, growing industries and all, the white marble was turning pale and dull of the Taj Mahal. And so therefore, Department of Archaeology took proper steps by closing down the industries in the neighborhood, and thereafter they have been taking the steps to maintain it. Regular cleaning has been done of the structure, has been brought back to the brightness of the Taj Mahal. The marble is made white. And so students, here I am going to stop now. We will study about our role in the preservation of the museums. We will study about museums tomorrow. I want you to learn these questions by heart. Okay, please do study these questions. They are important. May it be the short questions of 2 marks, 3 marks or 4 marks can be asked till now what we studied. But 1 mark also objective questions. By now you have already got the new paper style. So students, please do start working hard. Have a good day.